Did you know the fruits you've been eating for decades? Yes. The ones you thought were helping your health might actually be stealing the strength right out of your legs. If you're over 60 and your legs feel weaker than they used to, if you've started noticing a little more wobble, a bit more stiffness, or maybe it just takes longer to get going in the morning, it's easy to chalk it up to getting older. But what if age isn't the full story? What if I told you that some of the most common fruits in your kitchen might be quietly sabotaging your balance, weakening your joints, and leaving you more vulnerable to falls and fatigue? It sounds unbelievable, but it's absolutely true. These aren't exotic fruits from halfway across the world. These are fruits you'll find in every grocery store in America. Some might even be in your fruit bowl right now. And while they aren't bad for everyone, they can become risky, especially as our bodies age and change. But here's the good news. Once you know what to look for and what to replace, you can turn it around, often in just a few weeks. You can regain leg strength, improve your balance, and stop feeling like your body is betraying you. So, if you're over 60 and you've felt your legs giving out a little too soon in the day, or you're just tired of feeling unsteady on your feet, keep watching. You're not broken. You're not weak. You might just be eating something that's quietly holding you back. Let's dive into the 5 fruits you need to reconsider, starting with one that almost everyone believes is healthy. Number 1. Bananas. Bananas. The ultimate snack, right? Easy to grab, full of potassium, and promoted everywhere as heart-healthy and muscle-friendly. But for adults, between 60 and 80, too many bananas might actually be weakening your legs, not strengthening them. Here's why. Potassium is essential, but as we age, our kidneys may not filter as efficiently. That means excess potassium can build up in the blood, a condition called hyperkalemia. And guess what one of the first symptoms is? Weak, shaky legs. You might also notice tingling in your feet or cramping that hits when you least expect it. One banana a day probably won't hurt you, but doubling up, or adding potassium-rich foods like coconut water, spinach smoothies, or potatoes in the same meal, that can quietly tip the balance. Let me tell you about Howard, 74 years old. He was sharp, active, and took a brisk walk every morning. But then, halfway through his walks, his legs began to give out. He blamed aging. His doctor blamed potassium. Turns out, Howard was eating 3 bananas a day plus spinach smoothies. When he cut back, his strength returned within weeks. Bananas aren't the villain. But balance matters more than ever after 60. Your healthy routine could be silently draining your strength if it doesn't match. And here's something most people never hear. Bananas are high in natural sugars. If you eat them often throughout the day, those sugar spikes can feed low-grade inflammation, especially in your knees and joints. That's stiffness, swelling, and soreness that builds over time. So, if your legs have felt off lately, numb, tired, or just less stable, don't just blame age. Look at your fruit bowl first. Number 2. Grapes. Let's talk about grapes. Sweet, bite-sized, refreshing, and surprisingly dangerous. Most people pop grapes into their mouths without a second thought. They seem harmless. But if you're over 60, grapes, especially the seedless kind, might be draining your energy and weakening your legs in ways you'd never guess. Here's what's really going on. Grapes are loaded with fructose, a natural sugar that hits your bloodstream fast. That sugar spike feels fine for a moment, but then comes the crash. Over time, those little sugar roller coasters wear you down. Muscles lose fuel, fatigue sets in, and your legs, your foundation, start feeling weaker day by day. But the sugar isn't the only issue. Grapes are one of the most pesticide-heavy fruits on the market. Unless you're buying organic, those tiny snacks might be covered in chemical residues. For a younger body, it's not ideal. But for aging adults, those toxins can trigger chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that quietly settles into your joints and makes movement feel like work. Let me introduce you to Louise, 78, from Michigan. She loved her grapes chilled, snacked on them every afternoon. Over time, her knees began to swell, walking became harder. Physical therapy didn't help much. But once her doctor suggested cutting grapes and switching to anti-inflammatory blueberries, the swelling dropped within a month. Her energy returned, her balance improved. Just like that. You see, inflammation doesn't always come from fast food or fried junk. Sometimes, it's the healthy stuff we never question. And if you like raisins, bad news, they're worse. Dried fruit concentrates the sugar, often adds preservatives and clings to your teeth, feeding bacteria that inflame your gums. That gum inflammation has been directly linked to poor leg function through something called systemic inflammation. Yes, it's all connected. So if your knees ache, if your legs don't bounce back the way they used to, take a look at your grape habit. What seems small might be adding up in a big way. Number 3, watermelon. Now let's talk about a summertime favorite. Watermelon, it's juicy, it's sweet, and on a hot day, it feels like the healthiest snack in the world. But for older adults, too much watermelon can quietly cause the opposite of what you'd expect. Yes, watermelon is over 90% water, but it's missing something vital: electrolytes, specifically sodium and magnesium, which your muscles must have to stay strong, hydrated, and responsive. Eating too much watermelon can dilute these key minerals, leaving your legs feeling sluggish and drained. You might think you're hydrated, but your cells are actually dehydrated at a deeper level. That's when cramps creep in. Fatigue takes over, and getting up from the couch starts feeling like a workout. I knew a woman named Susan, 82, smart, active, and sharp as a tack. She swapped salty snacks for watermelon slices, eating them 3 times a day. Soon her legs felt weak. She even fell, twice in 1 month. The culprit? Low sodium. Once her doctor adjusted her diet to include more protein, added minerals, and reduced watermelon, her strength and stability came roaring back. But here's another problem: high glycemic index. Watermelon spikes your blood sugar fast, and those frequent spikes damage circulation, especially to your legs and feet. Poor blood flow means slower healing, colder extremities, and declining strength. Watermelon isn't evil, but if you're snacking on it multiple times a day or relying on it to hydrate your body, you may be quietly draining the very minerals your legs depend on. Number 4, apples. Apples, crisp, clean, and called nature's perfect snack. But let me ask you something. If you're over 60 and your legs feel stiffer than they used to, if it's getting harder to rise from a chair, or if you've noticed more cramps or general fatigue in your lower body, could it be your apples? We never think to question them. They're everywhere: lunchboxes, hospital trays, breakfast tables. But too many apples may be doing you more harm than good in your golden years. Here's why. Apples are rich in fiber and natural sugars, but very low in protein, magnesium, and calcium, all nutrients your muscles and bones desperately need after 60. If you're snacking on apples throughout the day, you could be missing out on the very nutrients that support muscle tone and leg strength. But it doesn't stop there. Apples are acid-forming. As we age, our bodies get less efficient at neutralizing dietary acid. That means we pull vital minerals like calcium and magnesium from bones and muscles to compensate. Over time, this can slowly weaken your lower limbs and reduce your ability to move with power and confidence. I once knew a man named George, 78, lively, full of stories. He ate 2 to 3 apples a day, but he was getting cramps. His legs just didn't feel as steady. He couldn't understand why stairs became such a chore. When we looked at his habits, it was clear. The apples were displacing his protein. We rebalanced his meals, replaced 1 apple with a high-protein snack, and added leafy greens rich in minerals. In just weeks, George was back to walking without strain. A few months later, he was even climbing stairs without support. So no, apples aren't bad. But after 60, every bite counts. 1 apple is fine. 3, that's a meal replacement. And your muscles might not be getting what they need. Want a quick fix? Pair your apple with a protein, a slice of cheese, a boiled egg, or a small handful of nuts. Your muscles will thank you. Number 5, pineapple. Last but not least, pineapple. Tropical, juicy, and rich in vitamin C. Sounds great, right? But if your legs feel puffy, heavy, or you've been noticing more swelling in your ankles and feet, pineapple might be quietly tipping the balance in the wrong direction. Here's what most people don't realize. Pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain, which in small amounts can help digestion. But in larger amounts, and especially combined with its natural acidity, it can thin your blood slightly, irritate your gut, and in some older adults, worsen circulation in the legs. Even more concerning, pineapple acts as a natural diuretic. That means it helps you flush water from the body. But unless you're replacing electrolytes, especially sodium and magnesium, you can end up dehydrated where it matters most, in your legs. And that's when the swelling starts. Calves feel heavy, ankles puff up. You may notice your socks leave deeper marks. And if you're dealing with heart or kidney issues, that extra imbalance could turn into real trouble. Let me tell you about Harold, age 78. He loved pineapple chunks before bed, swore it helped with digestion. But slowly, his legs started swelling. His feet ached. He had to sit and elevate his legs after just a short walk. We removed the pineapple, replaced it with anti-inflammatory berries and a pinch of Himalayan salt in water. 2 weeks later, his legs felt lighter. His shoes fit better. He could walk farther than he had in months. That's the power of balance. Pineapple isn't bad. But daily, without support, it can cause problems you'd never suspect. Let's be honest. We've all grown up hearing that fruit is always good for you. But here's the truth. After 60, your body plays by new rules. What once kept you strong may now be holding you back, slowly, quietly, and dangerously. If your legs feel heavier, your knees ache more than they used to, or your balance just isn't what it was 10 years ago, it might not be just aging, it might be what's in your fruit bowl. You don't need to stop eating fruit entirely. You just need to listen to your body, understand what's changed, and make small, smart adjustments. Swap a banana for berries. Pair your apple with protein. Watch your portion sizes, and most of all, observe how your body feels after you eat. Because when you treat your body with the awareness it deserves, the difference in your legs, your energy, and your confidence can be life-changing. If you found this video helpful, if something clicked for you today, comment below with the number of the fruit that surprised you most. And please, if you haven't already, like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us keep making content that informs, empowers, and helps you stay strong through every stage of life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.